Turkish Airlines Euroleague. I feel devotion.
In this episode, not only the game of the week on air, many other matchups are in our line of fire, starting with one of the big classics, CSKA Barcelona. We'll find out about two outstanding prospects at Cedevita and Partizan and catch up with a star performer, Vasilis Panouis, as well as our regular MVP and top 3 plays of the week. Athletes around the world make goodwill hospital visits, but Alba Berlin guard Heiko Schaffartzik might be unique among them in knowing just how much those moments mean to the patients. Long before Schaffartzik ever made such a visit, he received one from Alba players as a teenage cancer patient himself. Schaffartzik was 13 years old and training at a camp for the top young players in Berlin when his world turned upside down.
I felt really tired and had a headache, and so my parents, my father who was a doctor, took me to make some blood tests and everything, and then they diagnosed it, the leukemia.
During 9 months of chemotherapy treatments, Schaffartzik was focused on making it back to basketball.
I took this illness, leukemia, I took it as an injury phase. So I asked them how long would it take and everything. They told me half a year or 3/4 of a year. So in my head, I was thinking that I could play for the runner-up for the national championship, like the preliminary. So I already had that in my head, and that's how I went about it. I never thought if I would get healthy. I was just thinking when.
Unable to go to school or play basketball, Schaffartzik cherished any moments he could spend with his teammates.
You don't have to think about being in the hospital and getting chemotherapy and everything, but you have the feeling that you're like a normal kid again, at least for a while.
And when Alba's stars at the time came to visit the children's cancer station at Virchow Hospital in Berlin, the young Schaffartzik's hopes were boosted.
That was the first year they did it. They didn't do it because of me, but it was just coincidence, Jörg Lütke and Henning Harnisch came to my room and talked to me. And I was, I felt cool because I watched them play basketball so much.
15 years later, Schaffartzik is the one making the visits to the same hospital and to kids who have cancer, just like he did.
When I went there, it was also that the kids, when I told them, I used to be you, I used to be sitting right where you were sitting, and there were a lot of nurses who still remembered me, and they're like, that's the kid from room 6 who never did what we told him to do, So it was kind of cool, and the kids, they really, their eyes lit up, and they're like, oh, so you were in here too? Wow. So there are still, I think for them, it gave them the feeling that there are possibilities, what you can do even after overcoming leukemia or cancer or whatever.
Maccabi Electra came to Berlin still undefeated and hungry for more success. They showed great confidence in the last games by dominating Elan Chalon Susaon and Asseco Procom Dinia, and their plan was to do it again against Alba. However, their incredible start, a 12-0 run, wasn't enough to break the spirit of the hosts. The Germans came back into the game thanks to 17 points by Nihad Djerovic and fought till the very end. Zach Morley brought the teams level with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Then Heiko Schaffartzik's only basket came early in the third quarter to give Alba their biggest lead, 46-40. Maccabi Electra found the necessary resources to bounce back from their bench. Guy Panini and Giorgi Shermadini put the Israeli team ahead 63-55 in the last quarter with 6 minutes to go, but it wasn't over. Thanks to the efforts of the big men Albert Miralles, Yassin Idbehi and Dion Thompson, Berlin cut the gap to just 2 points. But Schaffartzik couldn't hit the buzzer beater. Maccabi won 78-76 and progressed to a 5-0 record behind our player of the game, Devin Smith.
We wanted to, try to remain undefeated and stay in first place. And we knew that Alba, they're a very good team that's well coached and plays well at home. for us to come in here and win, in this type of game, speaks a lot about how far we've grown.
With 20 points, including a crucial layup and 4 for 5 on three-pointers, Smith was red hot at the O2 World.
We have a good group of guys, who like playing together, and, we share the ball. Tonight, I was just fortunate enough to get those open shots, to get those looks. That's a testament that my teammates give me the ball.
After a fantastic 43 index rating last week, Montepaschi Siena's point guard Bobby Brown earned himself another Euroleague bwin MVP award, becoming the first player to complete the back-to-back honor since Partizan's Alex Maric in the 2009-10 regular season. This time, the point guard led his team to a very wide margin of victory on the road, 101-66 over his former team, Asseco Procom, at the Ergo Arena in Dinja. If last week Bobby did almost everything on the floor, this week he built his award above all around his long-range shooting, scoring 6 of his 9 triples for a total of 27 points. If that was not enough, he was perfect from the line with 7 from 7, adding 7 assists and receiving 5 fouls. With all these stats, his performance index rating reached 31. The weighty legacy of last season's Alfonso Ford top scorer trophy winner Bo McCaleb could not be on better shoulders. Another celebration after Bobby Brown's exploits. We must applaud an undefeated first leg for a long-standing but new look, solid Turkish Airlines Euroleague certainty, Zalgiris Kaunas. The Lithuanian team produced a very authoritative victory over Anadolu Efes at Abdi İpekçi, 77-64, winning its 5th game thanks to an almost perfect second half. The first half was even, although the hosts found their significant first advantage in the second quarter, with a couple of spectacular plays by Jordan Farmer, a very speedy fast break, and an assist from Semih Erden. A triple by Tremel Darden ended the first half in a 37-37 tie. It was after the long break that Marko Popovic broke the game with 4 triples almost in a row, from 39-37 up to 43-52, helped by Ibrahim Jabber. The last hope for Anadolu Efes was in the hands of Jamon Lucas and Erden again. But against Zalgiris in this type of form, it was a lost cause. Darius Lavrinovic completed the masterpiece with 8 points almost in a row, a 3-pointer, a dunk assisted by Oliver Lafayette, and the top advantage with another triple, 62-77. Game over, and the record season for Zalgiris goes on. From Istanbul to Moscow, where 2 other undefeated teams full of Euroleague tradition met each other, CSKA Moscow and FC Barcelona Regal. Like Zalgiris did in Turkey, the Spanish champions dominated the second half of the game, landing 43 points to 25, and they eventually went on to win 81-60 at the final buzzer. Juan Carlos Navarro was actually present in the first big game of the decade between these 2 historical clubs. A total of 11 games later sees the balance of power in favor of CSKA, with 6 wins and 5 for Barcelona. Of course, the most memorable games were played in the Final 4 semi-finals. In Barcelona 2003, the Blaugranas won 76-71, and a young Juan Carlos scored 8. Three years later in Prague, Ettore Messina won his first duel with an outstanding performance by J.R. Holden and Theo Papaloukas. Navarro scored 10. The first matchup between Messina and Javi Pascual took place in Berlin in 2009. The Italian coach came out on top, 82-78, thanks to an outstanding Ramonas Siskauskas, who set his career-high 29 points, scoring 18 of those in the last quarter, while Navarro posted 13 points. Lastly, the future champions of Barcelona won in Paris 2010, 64-54, with 11 points from Fran Vázquez and 10 from Navarro and Ricky Rubio. Now, almost 3 years later, La Bomba posted 21 points, making him not only the top scorer of his new team, but also the man who registered the decisive partial score during the third period. The 10-0 run from 44-46 to 44-56 began with his triple, followed by another vital basket from Erzem Lorbek. Then a curl move from Navarro. It ended with a Navarro move from Marcelinho Huertas. The terrific third quarter from Barca finished with another three-pointer by Navarro and 4 for 4 from the line by Huertas. 48-63 and the game was virtually over. A couple of dunks by Nathan Jawai increased the gap, despite the 18 points of CSKA big man Nenad Krstic. This was the first time that Barca defeated the Russian powerhouse in Moscow since 2005, 79-68, when Navarro scored 15.
In English.
Leo Westerman isn't shy. He may not be that good at talking in English, but he does know one language off by heart. The only language he needs, the language of basketball. This is the most important thing in his job, which is leading a team with a rich history in the sport like Partizan in one of the capital cities of this game. This is the reason why the club signed the first ever French player to star in a Serbian Euroleague team. But there are other important grounds that led the club to making this decision. Westerman is only 20 years old. He's a tall, young and talented point guard, and we all know how good Duško Vujozović is in developing youngsters.
I came here because everybody knows the story of Partizan. They are doing great with young player, improve a lot and have a good result with this kind of young player. So we have a lot of talent in this team. We want to improve together to do something in Euroleague and Championship, and that's a good objective.
Leo is finally discovering the level of Euroleague basketball. In the last couple of seasons, he played the Eurocup competition with his former club, Asvel Basket, after losing twice in the Euroleague qualifying round. Last year, Westerman scored 18 points in the defeat against eventual top 16 finishers Galatasaray. He and his team missed out on Europe's #1 competition, but he proved that he was ready to make the step up. His size and his pick-and-roll abilities were noted by all the Euroleague team's scouts.
You gotta read the defense, read the help, read everything. You have to make the good choice at the good moment, and I think that's the key to successful play.
Euroleague basketball is a great opportunity to study the game at the highest level, and Leo has discovered many textbooks in the form of great playmakers.
Yes, I watch a lot of basketball game and more, even more this kind of game. I mean, Theo Papaloukas, Diamantidis or Jasikevičius. I grew up with this type of player, so I learn a lot when I see this player.
Besides that, Westerman and Partizan MTS are still looking for their first success this season, as Brose Baskets ended the game on a 13-2 run in Belgrade to finally win 77-72 last Friday. The road to becoming superstars is still very long for Vujozovic's young guns. Westerman mentioned some of the greatest point guards in Euroleague basketball history, but another living legend is still playing. If the young Frenchman wants to improve his pick-and-roll play, he should collect videos of Vasilis Spanoulis' games. The Greek superstar was in Milan this week, where the defending champions Olympiakos triumphed against EA7 Emporio Armani 84-71. This could well be seen as the turning point for both teams, as Olympiacos advanced to a 3-2 record, while the hosts fell to a third defeat in a row despite a brilliant start. Spanoulis led the Reds with 23 points and 9 assists.
Mr. Scariolo said that it was a real final, so we prepared very good for this game. Our performance was great. Most defensively, everybody give unbelievable effort, and very good execution in offense and very high percentages.
Spanoulis' pick-and-roll play proved to be too elusive for the home side's defense, as he can use it to either score or to generate good shots for his teammates, beating the defensive rotation. Georgios Printesis and Kostas Papanikolaou know that something good is likely to happen if they occupy the wings, while the big men, like Dimitrios Mavroidis or Kyle Hines, just need to cut in at the right time to get an easy bucket.
The most important is to win when we have to win, and to be in the best shape when we have to be in the best shape. But early in the season we are in a very tough situation to go to the top 16, so we have to be in the best shape as soon as we can, so don't be in trouble.
That's the magic of Spanoulis, who is still recognized as one of the most unstoppable players in the continent.
He's our leader here. He's the main guy, and everybody is following him.
Milan has a lot of basketball tradition, and the crowd there appreciate a true talent, even if he's the man responsible of the home team's defeat. The fans in the stands at the Mediolanum Forum gave Spanoulis a standing ovation when coach Barzokas let him off the court for the last time.
Big thanks to all the crowd that they gave me, this thing, and I feel very proud about myself and about the team, and I really appreciate what they do, and I will keep working hard to improve my game and to help my team to win.
Will Vasilis carry Olympiacos to another championship run? It's hard to say now, but as he showed last May, everything's possible with the Reds. If the performance by Spanoulis in Milan was not surprising, that same night another point guard broke each of his Euroleague records. We remain in Italy, at Paladesio, where Jonathan Tabou demonstrated that Mapo Orocantu made the right call bringing him back after a season on loan.
The year before I leave, we reached the final, and we have access right away to the Euroleague, and it was really tough for me to watch them on TV. But I'm glad now I'm here and be part of it.
16 points, 7 assists in 34 minutes against one of the most respected teams in Europe, Fenerbahce Ulka Istanbul, led his team to a very surprising 82-58 win. And this with the Italian side missing their injured starting point guard, Jerry Smith. Jeffrey Brooks and Marco Kusin also broke their personal records, scoring 15 points each, with an almost perfect 14 from 15 on field goals. While the Italian guard Pietro Aradori is definitely enjoying a new lease of life at Cantu. He added 14 points and is averaging 16 points plus 5 rebounds per game in his first season as a Euroleague starter.
I don't care about stats, about scoring. I just want to win, and if to win I have to score more points, I do. If I have to play more defense and score less points, I don't care. I just want to win.
The Italians moved to a 2-3 record in what is a very exciting Group A. While Fenerbahce Ulka surrendered top spot to Real Madrid at the halfway stage. The Euroleague basketball family always love to celebrate the new entries. In this case, we are cheering a first ever success for Cedevita Zagreb in the competition. As coach Bozidar Malkovic explained, the club is trying to bring in some new talent, and big man Miro Bilan fits that description very well. In the past 2 games, he has totaled 32 points plus 12 rebounds in only 38 minutes. And he was the main factor in the 76-69 victory over Caja Laboral Vitoria. Bilan grew up in Šibenik, a city known worldwide because it was the hometown of one of the greatest ever players, Dražen Petrović.
In Šibenik, in my hometown, everybody talks about Dražen Petrović, so it's a story that follows you from the beginning when you start to play basketball, and you want to work hard and be devoted to the game, just like he was.
In terms of playing skills, Bilan is no Petrović. As a 7-foot center, he can help his team with his size, his presence, but also his soft touch, which is improving year after year.
I work with, hundreds of coaches, so I learned some new skills, and I try to develop my game through every practice to learn new stuff and to work hard, and I think I can improve much more than now.
Cedevita, Zagreb and Croatian basketball hope that Milo can become a true force both for club and country. Now working with one of the most respected coaches in Europe and playing on the biggest stage, Bilan knows what he has to do to keep moving in the right direction. Now let's take a look to our top 3 plays of the week.
Number 3, Belgrade, Serbia. With the game on the line, John Goldsberry sends a bounce pass to Charlotte Ford, who dunks in traffic to send Brose Baskets on to victory. Number 2, Ljubljana, Slovenia. A Real Madrid connection that is becoming a classic. Sergio Yul to Marcus Slaughter for the alley-oop dunk. And the number 1 play of the week, back to Belgrade. Filip Neumann attacks the basket for Bamberg, but Drew Gordon sends a shot flying off the glass.
That's it for now, but before we leave you, let's look ahead to the next game of the week. 2 icons of European basketball history meet for a very modern superpower showdown, as Panathinaikos Athens takes on visiting Real Madrid in the next Turkish Airlines Euroleague game of the week. Real Madrid owns more Euroleague titles than any club ever, but after a generation without one, is aiming to get its groove back behind world-class stars like Rudy Fernandez and Nikola Mirotic. Panathinaikos is the king of the Final Four era, with 6 continental titles since 1996. And all-time greats like Dimitris Diamantidis and Kostas Tsatsaris teaching that winning tradition to a new set of teammates. Bring these 2 teams together and sparks are sure to fly. That has continually been the case in the exactly 40-year history of Panathinaikos Real Madrid meetings in the Euroleague. They have met 21 times since their first game way back in 1962. But there has been added importance with each new one since a changing of the guard in 1995. That is when Madrid won the last of its 8 titles, although Panathinaikos took both their matchups that season, and 1 year later started its march to 6 titles in the last 16 years. Panathinaikos Madrid encounters in the new millennium have all come in the regular season, with the teams drawn together on 4 occasions prior to this week. In those battles, we've seen it all. Each side winning at the other's home, the season that Panathinaikos went on to win the title. Panathinaikos blitzed Madrid with 2 victories of more than 15 points in 2005-06. A clutch overtime win for Madrid in 2008 ended its run of losses to the Greens. The last time they met was 2009, when defending champion Panathinaikos suffered 2 defeats at the hands of Madrid. The Blancos still have Sergio Yul and Felipe Reyes from that 2009 team, while Panathinaikos veterans Kostas Tsatsaris and Dimitris Diamantidis will also remember it well. Now their teammates read like a who's who of regular season Group A, with Rudy Fernandez and Nikola Mirotic leading Madrid, while Sofoklis Skotsanitis and Roko Ukic lead the Greens. These classic but new-look teams clashed in Week 1 this year, when Madrid claimed an 85-78 victory at home. Now it's the turn of Panathinaikos fans to help bring their team revenge as the second half of the 2012-13 Turkish Airlines Euroleague regular season begins with a potential Game of the Week thriller. Panathinaikos versus Real Madrid.
Turkish Airlines Euroleague.